Hey, I'm Charlotte Pridmore, and today we are talking about something that I am very, very passionate about. So I have worked for myself for the past decade, and when I started working for myself, the major thing that I dealt with was fear of failure. And I think that's most people. Like, when we try something new, we go to do something new, or we introduce ourselves to a new trajectory in our lives or a new path, and it for sure there is fear. What if I fail? I've never done this before. I don't know if I can do this, all that negative stuff. And I think for a lot of people, that's when most people quit, right? Because the fear of failure is too much compared to the vision that they have for what would happen if they didn't fail. So I saw this most prevalently in my first business, where it was a network marketing business, and I think the statistics were 95% of people will only last the first 3 months. I mean, that's a pretty heavy statistic when you're building a business. Now, when the reason for that is because there is this fear of failure. There is this, and it's just too potent and too much for some people to get past. Then there are those people who do stick to it long enough to just develop the skills to understand that, okay, there is no success without failure. So this always reminds me of that Edison quote. I mean, I don't know if it's an actual direct quote, but Edison is always said to have said about the light bulb, I didn't fail 3,000 times, I just found 3,000 ways not to do it, which I think is an incredible quote, whether he said it or not. So those people that stick at stuff long enough to develop the skill of walking, through that fear of failure, and finding success means that they then gather evidence to say, well, I thought I'd fail and I didn't, and so now I've got this, this ability and this skill, because, walking with fears and moving through stuff is a skill. It's a skill that we build, right? So then they get comfortable with that fear. The fear never really goes away. Like, I don't really believe in fearlessness. I think that we just learn to walk with it, right? One of the best things I ever heard that explained this absolutely beautifully was one of my old mentors. And he said there are 3 stages. There is this to entrepreneurship and success. The first stage is, this isn't worth it. This isn't worth my time. It's not worth how it feels. It's not worth everybody not understanding what I'm doing. It's not worth me being judged. It's not worth me being, misunderstood. It's not worth it. Like, all this effort I'm putting in. We talked a lot about, back then, about the difference between an employee mindset and an entrepreneurial mindset, meaning that an employee mindset is very much, I've given you an hour of my time, I expect to be paid for that hour. Whereas when you're building a business, you give all your time for no money for a long time. And that can be very, very difficult. So the first stage is, this isn't worth it. The second stage is, this is worth it. For those people that stick at stage 1 long enough to start to see the return on their investment of time and effort and money in some cases, they get to the point where, this is worth it. I am now seeing a return on my investment. And so therefore, this is good. I am further along than I was when I started. I'm comfortable. This is worth it. And then there's stage 3. I'm not worth this much. This is when, if moved to that next level, we get to the position where we feel like the role is easier, the job is easier, the business is easier because we've been doing it for so long. It comes more naturally to us. We feel better doing it. It takes less time because we've built systems over time, and we're getting paid far more than we feel we're worth. Now, what I think happens for a lot of people is there is so much talk about fear of failure. If you go onto Google and type in quotes about failure, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of quotes. You can read books on it. There's everything to know about fear of failure. And then we get so we get it. We've got the resources, we learn, and if we're willing and if we've got the vision, we stick to it. And then we get to stage 2 and it's comfortable. And I think many people get stuck at stage 2. because what kicks in after stage 2 is, I think, more potent than stage 1, is fear of success. And that's what I want to talk about. I am so excited about the concept of helping women to blast through this fear of success. And the reason that I'm so passionate about it is because I have broken through that. And I have broken through that because of what I believe is the real work beneath fear of success. I think it has a lot to do with not just our own story. So a lot of the work I've done before looked at our story and why we end up the way we do, and why we behave and think and feel and have the life experience that we have based on our story. But what I think this has it's even deeper rooted. It is not only our story, but heavily influenced by our upbringing, our class, especially if you're British, our class system, which still exists very much today, our lineage, what was expected of us by our family. And the fear of success, ultimately, I believe, comes from a fear of separateness. Is that if I become this, if I move into this next level, it separates me from my tribe, to use very, the basic understanding of what I'm talking about, is that it makes me different, it makes me stand out, it makes me a target for judgment and criticism and all the things. And I think that fear, as entrepreneurs and as business women, is far more subtle and is less talked about than fear of failure. So I want to go deep into this conversation because I believe in my soul that this is the reason why so many women don't achieve the level of business or success or fulfillment or happiness that they really truly desire, because they just cannot. There is a deep-rooted DNA level limitation in them that says, I can't go this far, because if I do, I'm separated. And so it's what I want to talk about. So I have a new, very exciting program coming up very, very soon. And so if this is a conversation that you're interested in, that you can identify with, then keep your eyes peeled, because more information on this program will be dropping soon. And for all information of all other things, then please go to www.charlottepridmore.com. All right, nice to speak to you, and I'll see you soon.